Ozaukee County has been ranked as the #2 place in the country to raise a family. From the beautiful shores of Lake Michigan to the rolling, rusted countryside, Ozaukee County retains its rural charm and is a wonderful place for both children and adults. Unfortunately, Ozaukee County children are not immune to the issues that plague other communities.
Child abuse comes in many forms, ranging from shaken baby syndrome to teenage rape and everything in between. During the last decade, reports of child abuse in Ozaukee County have steadily increased each year, due in part to increased education and awareness of what child abuse and neglect are. Children rely on adults around them to help them mature into productive citizens. Most of us wouldn't think of harming a child, but child abuse does occur. It's up to responsible, caring adults to know how to recognize abuse and report it.
Child abuse is the physical, sexual, or emotional damage of a child by a parent, family member, or other non-caregiver. Physical abuse is defined as physical injury inflicted on a child by other than accidental means. Physical injury includes, but is not limited to, lacerations, fractured bones, burns, internal injuries, severe or frequent bruising, or great bodily harm. The warning signs for physical abuse include, but are not limited to, bruises, welts on the face, neck, chest, or back, injuries in the shape of an object, such as a belt or a cord, unexplained burns on palms, soles of feet, or the back, fractures that do not fit the story of how an injury occurred, delay in seeking medical help, extremes in behavior, very aggressive or withdrawn and shy, being afraid to go home, being frightened of parents, being fearful of other adults. Sexual abuse includes the following: any person having sexual intercourse or sexual contact with a child 15 years of age or younger, any person having sexual intercourse or sexual contact with a 16 or 17-year-old child without his or her consent, videotaping or photographing a child engaging in sexually explicit conduct, any person causing a child to view or listen to sexual activity, any person exposing genitals to a child, and any person permitting or encouraging a child to engage in prostitution. The warning signs for sexual abuse include, but are not limited to, pain, swelling, or itching in the genital area, bruises, bleeding, discharge in the genital area, difficulty walking or sitting, frequent urination, pain, stained or bloody underclothing, venereal disease, refusal to take part in gym or other exercises, poor peer relationships, unusual interest in sex for age, drastic change in school achievement, runaway or delinquent behavior, regressive or childlike behavior. Emotional damage means harm to a child's psychological or intellectual functioning. Emotional damage is evidenced to a severe degree by anxiety, depression, withdrawal, outward aggressive behavior, or emotional response that is not within the normal range for the child's age and stage of development. The warning signs of emotional damage include, but are not limited to, low self-esteem, severe depression, an unusual level of aggression, severe anxiety, extreme withdrawal, failure to learn. Another form of mistreatment of a child is neglect. Physical neglect means failure, refusal, or inability on the part of a caregiver, for reasons other than poverty, to provide necessary care, food, clothing, medical or dental care, or shelter, so as to seriously endanger the physical health of the child. Warning signs of child neglect include, but are not limited to, children who have poor hygiene or odor, are inappropriately dressed for the weather, need medical or dental care, are left alone unsupervised for long periods, have failure to thrive or malnutrition, have constant hunger, beg, or steal food, have an extreme willingness to please, are frequently absent from school, and arrive early or stay late at school, at play areas, or at other people's homes. Abuse and neglect can happen to anyone, anywhere, in cities, in the country, across social and economic and gender lines. Abuse can scar a child for life, causing behavior, learning, and language disorders, low self-esteem, and poor relationships with adults and peers.
None of these signs mean that child abuse has occurred, but when they occur together, or if they recur frequently, child abuse or neglect may be suspected. If this is the case, you need to take steps to help the child. Even if you are unsure, your reports, coupled with reports by others about the same child, may be enough to give the child the help he or she needs. Many professionals, such as teachers, nurses, and law enforcement, are required to report suspected cases of abuse and neglect. Even if you are not in a position that mandates reporting, it is still important to protect the child from further abuse by reporting the situation.
If you believe that a child has been abused, neglected, or is at risk of abuse or neglect, you should report your concerns to the Ozaukee County Department of Human Services or to your local law enforcement agency. We will need to know the names, ages, and addresses of family members, and hear information about the suspected abuse or neglect. The more information you share, the better. It's not your responsibility to investigate the abuse, but you do have a responsibility to report your suspicions. State law protects reporter confidentiality. We will not disclose your name to the individuals whom you report.
The purpose of reporting is not to get people in trouble, but to get them the help they need. Parents may need assistance in providing the care, nurturing, and safety needed to raise children. By reporting abuse or neglect, you'll help them get the services they need. As an adult who interacts with children through school, religion, education, scouts, 4-H, sports, and other youth activities, you are often in the best position to observe or hear from a child who has been abused or neglected. By reporting what you have seen or heard, you are taking an important step in protecting a child. Even if you are unsure if a child is being abused or neglected, please report what you know. We at Human Services cannot protect children unless they are brought to our attention.
The cost of prevention is far less than the cost of treatment and placement of an abused child. The Human Services Department can help these families, but only when concerned people like you get involved and report the abuse or neglect. We need to listen to and believe the stories that children tell us and support them by quickly reporting the situation. This will allow us to respond quickly to reduce the trauma that children experience. It's up to you to be the first step in the process of keeping children safe. If you see something, please say something.